live First for the 15 points. Leading off at 20 center field, number 6, Thomas Bolden. And second at first base, number 30, Dominic Avila.
Hey, do you want to go adjust the camera so you can see the players running on the field here real quick and then adjust it back during the national anthem? Just while you see them coming up the steps.
Number 19, Isaiah Bonji. Batting 7, Tennessee River, number 37, Dylan Windisberg. Batting 8 at second base, number 9, David Conti. Batting 9, the catcher, number 13, Andy Mack. And starting pitcher for the Force, number 24, Adrian Crochet. And now here's tonight's starting lineup for your Athletics. Leading off, the left fielder from Medford State University, number 15, Scott Mitchell. Batting second, shortstop from Regis University, number 14, George Smith. Batting third, from the University of Mary, right fielder, number 13, G. Osiris. Batting fourth, baseman, Regis University, number 24, Ethan Wood. Batting fifth, the center fielder from the University of Mary, number 2, E. Batting sixth, from Bolton Tennessee College, Tennessee hitter, number 34, Stone. Batting seventh, pitcher at the Fresno State University, number 33, and he is. Batting second baseman, from the State University, number 63, and at night, number 9, the defense from playing Peterson. For Fresno, over from And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask everyone to please stand and remove our hats for the playing of our national anthem.
Just a little bit. Hey, good evening, A's fans. This is play-by-play announcer Jarrett Smith coming at you live from Chancey Park for game 2 of 2 against the Bay Area Force. Boy, yesterday was a crazy one, wasn't it? Ended up being a mercy rule victory for the A's in 7 innings, and runs galore, hits galore were happening yesterday. Get this, 18 hits in yesterday's ball game, and over half of them were extra base hits. They were mashing the ball yesterday, including a triple, and including the extra base hit party was actually a player from the Force hitting a 3-run home run in this ball game. But anyways, focusing on today, it is in the high 90s. It's a hot one at Chancey Park. But as always, thankfully, the sun's going behind the stadium, so we got a little bit of shade. Let's take a look at that lineup for today's game. Leading things off, Scott Mitchell's going to be out in left field. Batting second, George Smith is at short. Third, Mikey Ramirez at right field. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot, Ethan Wood is back at first base after DHing yesterday. Luke Reed is batting fifth. He'll be in center field. Sixth, Parker Cristall will be DHing. He was the first baseman yesterday. Exited the game in the middle part of the game with an apparent injury, but looks to be okay to go today. Batting seventh, behind the dish, Hayes Edens. Eighth is Aiden Perry. He will be at second base. And rounding things out in the 9-hole, Brian Sanders will take over duties at the hot corner today. And on the mound for the A's is Tyler Gonzalez, a recent graduate of high school. He is going to be playing his college ball at Fresno Pacific here in town. And we're certainly happy to have him on the A's before he gets into college ball. On his season, 8 innings pitched. This is his second start of the year, and he has 8 strikeouts to 3 walks, making an ERA of 1.12 on the year. Good start for him. First pitch down the pipe for strike one. Leadoff batter for the Force is Bolden. Pitch number 2 is hit softly over to Aiden Perry. Gonzalez goes over to cover. It was a tight play, but he gets the job done, beats out Bolden to first base for out number 1. 2 pitches, 1 out for Gonzalez and the A's defense. So first baseman Avila digging in for his first at-bat. Avila pinch hit in yesterday's ball game, getting a single in the 5th, and actually hit a home run as well, that 3-run home run that I mentioned. First pitch to him, upstairs and away, 1-0. Pitch is hammered on down the right field. It's going to drop in for a base hit. Vila's thinking about 2. No, he'll stop there as Ramirez throws that one into second base. So Vila getting started right where he left off yesterday's game with a single, 1-out single. And now we have another Avila stepping up to the plate. This time, John Paul Avila. He's the left fielder for the Force today. Down the pipe, it's popped. It's in foul territory. Ramirez on the run for it. He's in the bullpen area. He's not going to be able to make a play as it hits the netting down the right field seats. So 0-1 here to Avila, and the Force are not being shy about swinging those bats early on in this inning. Gonzalez taking a peek over at first, comes home. Little dribbler to Gonzalez. He's going to flip it on to Ethan Wood at first for out number 2. Runner able to get to second base on that. ground out to the third or first baseman, that is Wood. And that'll bring up Gautiopi, the third baseman. He has the cleanup duties here today for the Force.
Hi.
Runner's on the move, but he'll have to get back to second as that one is slashed foul into the screen. Gonzalez taking a peek at second, comes home with 0-1, another swing and a foul ball into the screen. So I wouldn't necessarily describe the Force as being shy with swinging yesterday, but they are absolutely being aggressive here today as they do not want to have another crushing defeat in this game. 0-2 pitch from Gonzalez on the way is swung at. It's going to be opposite field base hit. No! Mikey Ramirez makes the sliding catch in right field to end things in this inning. So 1 out, single for Avila doesn't cash in anything for the Force. So we will move to the bottom of the first. A's looking to strike first. All right, here we go at the bottom of the first. A's have their first at bats, and Scott Mitchell leads things off. He's the left fielder. He's going to be facing off Croce. Yes, just spelt like the folk singer Jim Croce. He is a left-hander with some sidearm action, and he sidearms that one into the dirt for ball one. Ball gets thrown away when trying to get back to the pitcher there, but no harm done as it's the first batter of the inning. Taking a look at Mitchell's day yesterday, he came in to pinch hit and was walked on 5 pitches and ended up scoring a run, one of many runs, as we discussed earlier in this broadcast. So Mitchell ahead 2-0. He's been a good, consistent hitter for the A's this season, but a little bit slower with the production recently. Croce gets back into the count with a strike there on the outside corner, shaking his head no at a lot of pitches. Now agrees to 1. 2-1 pitch. Looked like a slider that bounces in the dirt. 3-1. Approaching into the windup for 3-1. Comes back with a strike and fills up the count 3-2. Payoff pitch on the way. Swung on and spoiled by Mitchell. Take two on the payoff pitch. Tries to slide it on the outside corner. No go. Leadoff walk for Scott Mitchell. That'll bring up the shortstop, George Smith. One of three Regis University players on the team is George Smith. In fact, all three were in action yesterday. Smith, Ethan Wood, and Gio Casas, the starting pitcher. First pitch to Smith, way outside. Would have hit a lefty if it was a lefty up in the box. Interesting to note, there's a little bit of warm-ups or preliminary throwing in the A's bullpen. Don't know if they're thinking about this being a bullpen game. We've seen Tyler Gonzalez go 4 innings in the past, but perhaps could just be getting some reps in and a little bit of a bullpen in preparation for the road trip to Medford this weekend, as that pitch misses 2-1. So we'll see if it ends up being a bullpen game or just some warm-ups. I did see a couple of new faces in the dugout, so it could be some new arms for the A's as we hit this last stretch of the season in July. This one's popped high in the sky. Who's going to get it? It is not the first baseman. He lays out for it, lost it in the air. So Smith will dig back into the box with a 2-2 count. Two-two pitch. Scott Mitchell's on the run, and he'll have to come back. I guess not. Boy, the way that ball popped off into the screen sure looked like it was off the bat, but I reckon he got hit by a pitch there. So runners on first and second for the A's after an apparent hit by pitch there. And A's are in business early. Started out yesterday's game with both leadoff hitters getting on base as well. So perhaps a sign of good things to come for the A's. Third hitter, Mikey Ramirez, coming up to the plate. Best batting average on the team. Hits that up the middle to the center fielder. He's on the run back for it. It goes over his head. Scott Mitchell's on the run. George Smith is right behind him. They're both rounding for home. Mitchell is in. Throw is offline. And that's going to be a 2-run double for Mikey Ramirez. 2-0 A's. Didn't even have a chance to mention it, though, but Mikey had not one, but 2 RBI doubles yesterday, and now he comes up with a 2 RBI double today. And just proving my point about him having the best batting average on the team. Of course, that's statistics, but still, he proved it right there with a great hit. Ethan Wood hits this to the second baseman, throws it on to first. That is out number 1 of this inning, but it does move Mikey Ramirez on the third base. So after Ethan Wood rounds out to the second baseman, Luke Reed coming up, Mikey Ramirez's teammate at University of Mary. This first pitch is popped up high in the sky. Who wants it? Second baseman, right field, center field. Right fielder does. Here comes the throw to the plate. Oh, Mikey Ramirez is in there just in time. It was a good throw and it had a chance, but Ramirez flies down that third base path and sneaks in for run number 3. So that'll be a sac fly RBI for Luke Reed. And the third run of this inning cashes in his college teammate. Parker Cristall, the DH, now digs in. Backdoor slider does not get the call, 1-0. One 0 pitch on the way. Cristall sends this one out to right field. It's going pretty deep, gets the right fielder on the run. It's in foul ground, and he makes the catch. He almost overran that, but good job tracking that one down for the end of the inning. But A's able to strike first, and they strike big. 3 runs in the first inning, and they'll try to hold that lead as we go to the top of the second. We're back with the top of the second. Seconds. ABs for the force on the day, but still through the first part, or first rotation through the lineup, I should say. That first pitch was a swing and a miss, 0-1. Batter is right fielder Kroom as Gonzalez nails strike 2, and Kroom's quickly down 0-2. Take a look yesterday. Kroom was 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. And he remains 0 for with a swing and a miss on the slider first. Strikeout for Gonzalez in this game, 1 down, and that'll bring up the shortstop. So Manji digging in now for his first at-bats. First pitch in the dirt there, 1-0. Manji came in to pinch hit in yesterday's game and was able to draw a walk. And he's able to watch ball 2 for 2-0. Feels noticeably hotter today than yesterday, but I don't believe there's really a temperature difference. Just might be a little bit more muggy today. There were a lot of thunderstorms to the east in the Sierra, so perhaps some of that sort of influenced the weather in this area today, but it is just a bit sticky and uncomfortable today. But thankfully, they got the misters going in the stands and in the dugouts to keep us cool. Monji watches ball three go by there, so 3-1. Gonzalez looking to get back into the count, throws it down the middle, chopped weakly into foul ground, and that'll fill it up 3-2. Gonzalez's payoff pitch down in the pipe, just barely spoiled. Sounded like that one might have been off the end of the bat, but either way, Monji able to keep this bat alive. So, part two of full count payoff pitch coming up from Gonzalez down the pipe, and this one sent up the middle to Luke Ree. Had trouble tracking it in the sun, but gets it done. Fell down making the catch, but A's won't complain. It gets the second out of this inning. So Dylan Brandenburg stepping in for as the seventh hitter of this lineup. We did not see him playing offensively or at the plate yesterday, but he did make a relief appearance at the mound, and it was definitely interesting to say the least. He had what A's pitchers or hitters would describe as a very slow approach and pitch as he chops this one over to Sanders at third. Quick throw over the first in time for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down in the top of the second. A's feeling good early on in this one and looking to extend that lead as we go to the bottom of the second. Bottom of the second, good start here for the A's offensively. They had 6 batters come up in that inning and got 3 runs across the board. Hayes Eden's looking to continue that trend. First pitch he takes down in the dirt, ball one. Eden's pinch hit yesterday for Julian Rodriguez drew a walk in his one plate appearance and was able to score very similarly to Scott Mitchell. Takes this last pitch as a ball, 2-0. Eden's has been the primary catcher this season. Swing and a miss, 2-1. Luke Shaheen was catching a lot of games for the A's earlier this year, but unfortunately ended up going home, I do believe, with an injury, and I don't believe he will be with the team anymore this season. 3-1 bounced in the dirt there. Eden's in a good hitter's count here. But we've seen Julian Rodriguez catch, as mentioned yesterday, was behind the plate. And Isaac Fernandez, a recent add to the team, has caught some games behind the plate. Eden swinging a miss at a slider, and count goes full, 3-2. A lot of full counts here early for the pitcher, Croce. Misses outside with that one. Edens takes all the way for ball four, and that is back-to-back innings with a leadoff walk for the A's.
State University, number 63, Aiden Henry.
So Aiden Perry digging into the box now, the second baseman for the A's. First pitch misses inside. Perry been struggling, a little bit to find some base hits, but able to get one yesterday. Went 1 for 2, but also walked twice and scored 3 times on the afternoon. Little dribbler off the bat, but it goes foul. So lefty on lefty matchup here for the second batter of the inning. Croce comes home to Perry. Slider breaks off the plate. This one chopped foul. Looks like it's going to be fielded foul. Yes, it will. So Perry will come back to the plate with a 2-2 count. Mentioned Croce's had a lot of extended counts, not getting quick outs, and those balls and strikes are adding up. That was the 27th pitch of his outing so far. So a little bit surprising, actually, with him allowing 3 runs in the first inning and multiple at-bats getting deeper in the count, but still keeping that pitch count reasonably low. 2-2 to Perry. Loops in. Ooh, I think Perry thought he had strike 3 there and was going to walk back to the dugout, but umpire gives him a ball and the count goes full, 3-2. Pitcher stepped off there for a second. Perry regathers himself as well. This one hit out to left field. It's hanging up. Is he going to be able to get there in time? No, it is foul. And hey, Perry family, I do imagine you're related to Aiden Perry, the current batter right now. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for letting me know about the camera issues with the net. We have been noticing that, so every now and then I've had to refocus on the batter's eye out in center field for it to keep a better focus. So again, thanks for letting me know, and let me know if there's anything else going on with the stream. Another try at 3-2 for Croce, and Perry rung up on the inside corner. Catcher goes for the back pick at first, but Eden's able to get back in time. First strikeout for Croce in the game, 1 down in this inning. And 9-hole hitter Brian Sanders is due up. Sanders pinch hit for Julian Rodriguez yesterday, struck out. Having a brief conversation with the umpire at home, now digging in for his first at bat. Scott Mitchell is on deck. He is the top of the lineup. Hayes Eden's on the move, loops a curveball by, and that's going to be a free base for him. He won't try and test and go to third. So Edens was likely going to get second base on an off-speed pitch thrown while he was stealing, but wild pitch there solidifies it for him, and now Hayes Edens is now in scoring position for Brian Sanders. We've seen it's been a little bit of struggle for Brian Sanders at the plate, but when he has been able to put that ball in play, he has been getting extra base hits and some RBIs. Most notably earlier in the season, there's only been one walk-off win for the A's, and that was courtesy of Brian Sanders' opposite field 2 RBI double to complete a 4-run comeback in the 9th inning. Slider breaks into the plate for 2-1. A pause there with Croce behind the mound. Now he gets back on the rubber. Two one swung on, and Sanders was way ahead of it, and it hits third base coach Ben Jungbluff. Looks to be okay. Of course, that's going to get the A's dugout hyped. Might be able to hear that over the audio. Sanders will take a breather with all that excitement there. Now he digs back into the box. So after that foul ball, it's now count even 2-2. Spiked in the dirt. Good block there from the catcher, though, to keep Edens at bay. And yet again, another full count for Croce early in his starting outing. Swing and a miss at a pitch low and outside. Well located and able to get out number 2. Back-to-back strikeouts for Croce. And that'll bring up Scott Mitchell. First pitch to Mitchell misses way outside, 1-0, as the Stadium PA plays the audio of Harry Doyle, the old Brewers announcer, the announcer in Major League, saying just a bit outside. That one swung on and missed by Mitchell, 1-1. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate your kind comments about my play-by-play. It's been really fun doing this, obviously. And, you know, I grew up playing baseball, and Dad fostered a love for baseball in me. And it's definitely been fun noticing myself improving, too, getting more comfortable and just being able to fill in the time, because it can be a little challenging without a fellow person next to me to bounce off each other with talking to keep the flow going. Mitchell finds himself in a 3-1 count now, favorable count. He walked in his last at-bat. So 2 plate appearances for him in this series against the Force. 2 walks, make that 3. Watches that one in the dirt. He has first base. So runners now on first and second. Sorry about that. Scoreboard's accurate now. First and second are the base runners in this second inning. 2 outs. George Smith, the shortstop, digging in for his second at-bat. Smith was hit by a pitch in his first at bat this game, of course, being the last inning. First pitch to him gets the low part of the plate, 0-1. Taking a look at Smith's day yesterday, 2 for 5 at the plate with a double and able to cash in 2 ribbies. 0-1 pitch. Is he able to hold? Ball gets away from the catcher, and he's not going to have any throw. Edens gets to third, Mitchell to second, so now 2 runners in scoring position for George Smith. And the call is yes, he was able to check his swing. So 1-1 count. Swing and a miss on that one, 1-2. Looks like might have pulled his head off that swing. I can tell you personally from my years of playing baseball, and it's common sense, but pretty hard to hit the ball when you're not looking at it, and that seemed to be the case there. This one spiked in the dirt, gets by the catcher. Here comes Edens home, easily scores. 4-0 A's. So after that wild pitch, Scott Mitchell finds himself now 90 feet away from the 5th run of this ball game. Yet again in the dirt, but a good block from the catcher, Mackey, and the count goes full 3-2. No, I've mentioned it a few times in this inning, but it is becoming a recurring theme for just about every batter that Croce is facing. Yet another full count this time to George Smith, and able to get out of it is Croce's swing and a miss. He retires George Smith, and that will end the inning. So 5 batters come up for the A's. Edens' leadoff walk is able to score on a wild pitch. And Croce ends up having to do it himself, strikes out 3 batters in that inning to get us to the top of the 3rd. A's extend their lead 4-0 as we go to the top of the 3rd. Top of the third, first pitch from Gonzalez misses up and in for ball one. Pitch number two misses down and away, the exact opposite of last pitch. So batter leading off here for the third inning is Conti. He's the second baseman. That is a strike. 2-1. Don't believe we saw Conti in yesterday's game. We'll check the scorebook to confirm. This one's yanked away, 3-1.
No.
Yep, no sight of him yesterday. He might have been somebody that just came down today for the game. I do recall hearing the coach yesterday mentioning we'll have more players coming today. And that one is swung on and missed. Looked like Conti was out ahead of the breaking pitch. Count goes full, 3-2. Payoff pitch up the middle to George Smith. He fields it, throws it on to first base in time for out number one. So after ground out to short, here comes the catcher, Mackey, up to the plate. Showing bunts, goes for it. Yes, he did, says the umpire. 0-1. Looked like he ended up reaching out too far in front of that one and dropped the barrel. Swing and a miss. 0-2 now for Gonzalez against Mackey. There is some action in the bullpen, but looks like it might just be some sort of live bullpen. They have some sort of batter there, of course, not hitting. And as a matter of fact, the ball gets away from the bullpen, rolls to the backstop. But anyways, we'll see if somebody ends up coming in here shortly. Still pretty early in the game, but a little bit of trouble early for Croce. Gonzalez, on the other hand, 1-2 to Mackey. This is fouled back to the screen. Oh, shoot, what happened to the scoreboard? Thanks for letting me know. Let's take a look and find out. Interesting. I don't know why the score bug is not showing up on our program, but we will figure that out in between innings. This one's chopped up the middle. Perry on the run, bobbles it. That's going to be first base for the catcher, Mackey. So that will likely go into the books as an E4. One out base runner here for the Force. Quick question for you, by the way, to help me try and diagnose this. Did the scoreboard start out on the stream and then ended up vanishing away, or was it never on the stream to begin with? I'd appreciate you if you can help answer that question. First pitch from Gonzalez is in for a strike, 0-1. Top of the lineup now for the Force. Bolden for his second at bat, grounded out to second his first time up to bat. Finds himself in an 0-2 hole here. Gonzalez taking a peek over at first a couple times. Now comes home, right down the pipe, fouled into the stands. Okay, haven't seen it all game. So I will address that issue in between innings, and hopefully we'll have an operational scoreboard for you going into the bottom of the third. Thanks for letting me know. Yet another 0-2 pitch here for Gonzalez. On the way, up in the zone, top, way up in the air. Who wants it? Ethan Wood does. He's got it for out number two. So pop out to the first baseman. Two down, runner on first still for the Force, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Avila. swing and a miss on the first pitch. 0-1. That was emphatic by Avila. Looked like he might have been trying to leave the ballpark there. Ball misses low, 1-1. And thank you very much for tuning in as well. And thanks for letting me know. And yeah, Mikey Ramirez, your grandson has been knocking it out of the park recently. Great hitter on the season here for the A's. And of course, hopefully you were tuned in to see his 2 RBI double in the first inning. That was a thing of beauty. Went right over the center fielder's head. And as we get back to this current at-bat, Avila's down 1-2 in the count. Gonzalez comes home, gets by Edens. That's going to be second base for Mackey on the wild pitch. Count's even, 2-2. Avila, the 1 base hit for the Force so far. This one's ripped towards Ethan Wood at first, but foul. Two-two pitch taken outside to fill up the count. That shadow line is creeping up on the middle infielders. We saw that be an issue in yesterday's ball game with 2 balls thrown into the outfield. This one's ripped. Ethan Wood tries to dive for it. He can't get it. And the throw in from right field is going to beat number 3 of this inning. Incredible throw from Mikey Ramirez into home plate. Eden's able to get the tag in time for out number 3. Fantastic finish to the inning for the A's defensively. They keep a 0 on the scoreboard, and they'll be coming up bottom of the 3rd, still up 4-0. All right, bottom of the third, and Mikey Ramirez leading things off. He just ended the top half of this inning with an emphatic outfield assist. Incredible throw straight home to Edens to get the potential first run of this inning. Still working on the score bug issue at the moment. 1-0 is the count to Ramirez. And he gets drilled with pitch number 2, and he'll have first base. Another leadoff base runner for the A's.
Now, at number 24,
So that'll now bring up Ethan Wood. First at bat for him, he grounded out to second base. This one gets high back to the backstop. Loud thump right next to us at the communication table. That'll get Mikey Ramirez over to second base. Another hit by pitch. Ethan Woods on to first base. And a tough start here for the new pitcher. That is right, actually. I do have to inform you, it is Velasquez now on the mound. So Croce's day is done after only 2 innings. So that's going to prompt a visit on the mound here with Velasquez early on in his outing. Still unsure what the issue is with the score bug. We'll still keep trying to work at it during this broadcast, but in the meantime, runners are now on first and second for the A's with no outs in the inning. And Luke Ree will be digging in for his second at bat. Ree was able to get a sacrifice fly out to center field to score his teammate, Mikey Ramirez, in the first inning. First pitch, up and in. Pitch number 2 on the way down. The pipe evens it up 1-1. Take a quick peek at how Croce's day has panned out for him in the stats department, as 1-1 pitch from Velasquez is on the way to Ree, taken down low for 2-1. So Croce only gives up 1 hit, but 3 earned runs, 4 runs total. Was able to strike out 3. That was in the second inning, but also did walk 3. Technically no walks here for Velasquez in his start. However, he does have 2 hit by pitches back-to-back we've seen to start out this inning. Ethan Wood in a favorable count here for him. It is 3-1. Park Crystal waiting on deck, biting at the, or waiting, we'll just say waiting for his opportunity in this inning. That's in the dirt for ball 4. 3 batters, 3 base runners. It is bases juiced for the Athletics. Parker Crystal with a big opportunity to blow this game even more open. So tough situation for Velasquez and the Force. Bases loaded, no outs as Parker Crystal comes up to the plate. First pitch taken inside for a ball. We talked about Crystal yesterday, has an impressive OPS, which OPS combines on base percentage and slugging. So essentially, with the high OPS, you're looking at a guy who gets on base often with either base hits or walks, and also slugs well, which means he's getting extra base hits often, not only just singles. 1-0 pitch gets the outside part of the plate. One count, swung on and missed for 1-2. Took a healthy hack at that one, perhaps trying to get 4 in at once. We have seen Crystal leave the ballpark before, though, hit a home run into those left field seats a few weeks ago. Certainly has the power for it, but wind is not favoring his side of the plate today, as this one's ripped up the middle or the 5-6 hole. That's a base hit. Mikey Ramirez in to score. Here comes Ethan Wood. He's in to score. And the base runner able to get the third safely. That's a 2-run single for Parker Crystal. 6-0 A's. Well, yet another visit with Velasquez. That's going to do it for him. That ends up being 4 batters he faces. He gets no outs in his appearance. So new pitcher coming in. We'll let you know who it is when we come back. All right, we're back with the new pitcher. It's Napier for the Force. And hey, look at that. Score bug is back. First pitch to Edens is a strike. The streaming software I use is OBS, and it does this weird thing sometimes where it likes to use one of the components I have and fade it. So then I just have to press the bar back up high, and then it just comes back. But anyways, glad to have that graphic back for you at home to follow along. As Edens hits this one into shallow right field. Right fielder is able to get that one, and Luke Ree holds up at third base. So does Crystal at first. So now that is the first out of the inning. Runners stay put. And Aiden Perry will be digging in for at-bat number 2 of his day. Struck out in the second inning. Long pause here to await Perry's at-bat. Now we're ready to go. First pitch from Napier, taken for a ball. Crystal easily has second base. So stolen base for Crystal and 2 runners in scoring position for Perry. Potential for the A's to run up the score even more. Gets back with a strike to Perry, 1-1. Corner infielders are playing up on the grass trying to cut down Ree at home. Pitch goes way outside, 2-1 that is. So as mentioned, first base, third base on the edge of the grass. However, middle infielders are playing back. 2-1 to Perry, taken down low. So it was a tough situation here for the Force with bases loaded, no outs, but they'll certainly take getting out of this inning with only 2 runs scored as that one goes foul into the screen. Full count pitch. Taken for ball 4. That was close on the outside part of the plate, but ends up being a walk for Perry. Bases are loaded yet again. Dangerous situation for the Force. Brian Sanders now steps up to the plate with a big opportunity for some big runs in this inning. Napier's first pitch breaks off the plate. And as mentioned, this is a tough situation for the Force, but it could get even tougher. Scott Mitchell, top of the lineup, is on deck, so some even, as you'd imagine, higher percentage hitters with batting average would be due up in the next coming at-bats and could just get from bad to worse. Napier was able to come back with a strike there, 1-1. Slow windup on the way, breaks a curveball in for strike 2. That was a nice, sharp curveball. 1-2 here. We'll see if Napier tries to work lower in the zone to induce a ground ball. He does, but no matter there, rings up Sanders. He strikes out looking. And that'll be out number 2. Scott Mitchell is up to bat for his third at-bat in 3 innings. First pitch taken for a ball. So can breathe a little bit easier, can the Force at the moment with 2 outs, but still dangerous situation. Napier misses with another pitch, so Mitchell in a favorable count, 2-0. Taken on the outside part of the plate for a strike, 2-1. Just as a reminder for who is on base, Ree is at third, Crystal is at second, and Perry is at first. Got the outside call last time, tried to expand the zone a little bit more there, but no love from home plate umpire, 3-1. This one is chopped into foul ground. Count will go full yet again, 3-2. Runners on the move now with a full count and 2 outs. Mitchell flies this one into right field. Should be caught unless it gets caught in the sun. That will do it for the inning. Two runs come across the board for the A's, but certainly could have been a lot more. But reckon you can't complain with a 6-0 lead in only 3 innings of play. So Force will be coming back up to the plate in the top of the 4th for what they're hoping to be a comeback effort. First pitch is laced into left center field. That is a leadoff single for the Force. So that was JP Avila getting a single there. So first time in this ball game, the Force able to get a leadoff base runner on. Perhaps that'll prove to be good for them. We're very close to scoring last inning, but as mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Mikey Ramirez with a great outfield assist, and that's a great hit for extra base hits. That is a gapper in right center field. This might score Avila. He's on his way home, and there is going to be no throw as he comes across the plate for the first run for the Force. Ethiopia with that RBI double there brings in Avila. 6-1. Now the score. Force looking to claw back into this game. 6 is probably an unfeasible number for one inning. Not probably, it is, but if they can keep chipping away and hold the A's the rest of the way, it is a possibility. That pitch there called for a strike. 0-1. No, pitch number 2 from Gonzalez is chopped towards the Force dugout. Foul ball. Quick 0-2 hole for the new batter, Kroom. Gonzalez coming set, but batter Kroom calls for time, so he'll reset his process. Taking a long look at Gattiopi over at second base, comes home, swing and a miss, strike three, first out of this inning. That is punch out number 2 for Tyler Gonzalez in his outing. So with one down, runner on second, the shortstop Mongi digs in for his second at-bat. First at-bat flew out to center field. Edens blocks that first pitch to keep the base runner at second base. Pitch number 2 from Gonzalez gets the outside part of the plate, comes back with a strike. Wind has changed directions here at the ballpark. It's actually blowing against the the right-handed hitters, but no matter for him. That's a single in the gap. Luke Bree able to cut that one off, but it won't matter. That's another run in. Gattiopi comes around from second base to score. That's an RBI single for Mangi, and that is 6-2. Now Force only down by 4. So Brandenburg coming in for his second at bat. Was discussing something about about him in the first at bat, but got cut off with the ball getting put in play. But as mentioned, we saw him in the game yesterday, but not as a hitter. It was a pitcher, and it was interesting for sure. A change of pace for the Athletics batters. Fair to say we're used to seeing 70s to 80s at the plate, but believe it or not, Brandenburg was getting clocked in the low 50s yesterday and was almost throwing ephus-like pitches. Upstairs, back pick from Edens, not in time. Mangi able to get back to first. Gonzalez will reset on the mound with a 1-2 count now to Brandenburg. One-two spiked in the dirt. Edens unable to keep it in front of him. It goes to the backstop and a long turnaround second for Mangi, but doesn't go to third base. So wild pitch, spiked pitch from Gonzalez allows runner to second and takes away the easy double play opportunity. And count remains 2-2 now for Brandenburg. Gonzalez comes home, a little emergency hack. It gets by Ethan Wood, and Brandenburg is safe. The throw coming home, it's not going to be made. That's a third run for the Force now. Mangi, comes around to score on an error by the first baseman, Ethan Wood. 6-3 now. And the Force are making a bit of a comeback here, getting themselves more competitive and back in this game. First pitch from Gonzalez is in there for a strike. This one is chopped up the middle. George Smith was unable to make the play for a double play, but goes with the safe option at first for out number 2. So Conti grounds out, 2 outs, but the base runner Brandenburg able to get second base on that. 2 outs. The catcher, Mackey, he's the bottom of the lineup hitter, takes the first pitch inside for a ball. Mackey's first time up, he was able to reach on an error by Aiden Perry at second base. Got around to second base, but Force wasn't able to take advantage of him getting on base and cash him in. But they're certainly cashing him in this inning as that one misses upstairs, 2-0. Gonzalez looking to get back into the count. Mackey thought about swinging on that, but holds up the swing, and he is now at a 3-0 advantage. We'll wait and see if he has the green light here, but most of the time we see batters taking the pitch no matter what. He does, but it is ball 4, so takes it with good reason. He has first base. Runners now on first and second. And still a chance here for the Force to add some more runs, but before they can try and add some more runs with the top of the lineup, pitching coach Ethan Winter is going to come out to the mound to have a discussion with his pitcher and perhaps calm things down. Be right back after the quick conference on the mound. All right, we're back with the top of the lineup after quick conference. Bolden digging in for his third at bat. Gonzalez in a bit of a jam here, but working with 2 outs. First pitch, Bolden unable to check his swing, 0-1. Gonzalez up to 65 pitches now, so a little bit high in the 4th inning, but still potential for him to get out there for another inning or 2. That last pitch helps with that cause as it's another strike, 0-2. Gonzalez looking to put Bolden away. He does. Slider on the low and outside part, paints the corner, and that'll end the inning. But Force able to take advantage of some base runners, get 3 runs in the top of the 4th, and they've made it a ball game now as they're only down 3. A's looking to build back up a bigger lead. All right, it is the A's turn to bat in the fourth inning. It is the 2-3-4 hitters. George Smith leading off the bunch. First pitch to him from Napier is a curveball that's hit down the third base line, but foul. Smith was hit by a pitch in the first inning, did score one of 3 runs in that first inning, and then struck out in the second. So 0 for 1 on the day. This one's lined at the first baseman who makes a fantastic catch. Unfortunately, that happened too quickly for me to cut over to our camera for that view, but great play by the first baseman for the force, 1 out in the inning.
Now number 13, Mikey Ramirez.
So with 1 down, Mikey Ramirez digging in, and it's been a good day for him. 2 RBI double in the first, hit by pitch in the third, and scored the first run of 2 in that inning. Takes the first pitch he sees for a strike. But not only that, threw an absolute dart from right field to cut the runner down at home and end the scoring chance for the force in the second inning, I do believe that was. That is in there for a strike again. 0-2 hole here for Ramirez. Right down the pipe, fouled into the screen. So interestingly enough, looking at that scoreboard, A's obviously up by 3, 6-3, but the Force are out hitting the A's in this game 5-2. Curveball slashed in between the 3-4 hole. That's a single for Mikey Ramirez, and he continues to smack the ball around the field. Another hit, and he'll settle in at first base. Now Ethan Wood comes up with Ramirez at first, looking to move him around the bases. And we talk about runners in scoring position being second and third base, but with Ethan Wood's ability to send that ball deep into the field, there is potential that he can get Ramirez home from first. First pitch to Wood, there was a ball, 1-0. Napier coming back with pitch number 2 on the way. Swung on up the middle. That's another base hit. Ramirez is going to hold up at second base. So runners essentially go station to station on that one. Another single in this inning for the A's. Wood at first base. And now 2 runners on, 1 out, and Luke Ree looking to cash in on that. Ree with a sacrifice fly in the first inning and also walked in the third inning. Productive day for him so far, even though has no base hits on the day. First pitch loops in there for a strike. So as mentioned, no base hits for Ree yet on the day, but he most certainly has been hitting well at the start of this week. Yesterday, as that one goes way high. But also last week, Ree able to get some big hits and RBIs. Speaking of yesterday with his performance, he backed up Luke Nevad with both of them hitting RBI doubles back to back. That was cool to see. Swing and a miss for 1-2. We'll keep an eye on Ramirez and see if he's ambitious with his stealing. He is at second, so higher risk, but he can fly. He stays put for now. That pitch goes outside 2-2. Counts even. Napier comes home. It's popped up into the infield and caught for out number 2. So no harm done with 3 at the plate for the Force. Parker Cristall now comes up with his chance to extend the lead. Cristall last inning able to get a 2 RBI single that ended up scoring Ramirez and Wood. And same situation here, actually. Ramirez is on base, so is Wood. And there they go to second and third as that ball gets away from the catcher. So could be setting up for a little bit of deja vu here for the Force. One 0 to Cristall on the outside part of the plate. Takes it for a strike. There is somebody now down at the bullpen for the A's potentially warming up. We'll try and see who that is. In the meantime, Cristall takes the second ball of his at-bat. This one sent a mile high in the air. The second baseman and right fielder are trying to negotiate who wants it. Right fielder wins those negotiations and gets out number 3. So a little bit of a scoring chance there for the A's in the inning, but nothing doing. So score remains 6-3 as we go to the top of the 5th. All right, top of the 5th, and the Force looking to keep on continuing that comeback. First pitch misses outside to Avila, ball 1. One of 2 Avilas. They're batting back-to-back in the lineup. This one is Dominic Avila. As he hits this one in between Wood and Perry for a base hit. That's a leadoff single. He's thinking about turning 2, but will not. He'll go back to first. First 3 innings were unable to get a leadoff base runner. Now, back-to-back innings, they've gotten a leadoff hit, and last inning it proved to be fruitful for them. And part two of the Avila Bros is now up. That is John Paul Avila. Don't know if they're brothers or not, but seemed fitting to call them the Avila Bros for the force as they're batting back to back in the lineup. First pitch upstairs, 1-0. So Gonzalez is on the mound seeking his fifth inning of work, his first and only start of the season. Prior to today, he worked 4 innings. This is chopped. He could be 2. He blocks it with his body, though, has to go to 1. Smart play from him at that point and gets the guaranteed out at first. There's double play potential on that one with a hard hit ball, but Perry just had to knock it down with his chest and go over to 1. So 1 down, runner on second. Gattiopi is up to bat for his third time. This one's fouled into the seats. Gonzalez with a long check over at second. Comes home 0-1 in the dirt. Good block from Edens. One swung on. It's chopped. It's in fair play. Sanders with the field throws it over. Great scoop and pick from Ethan Wood to guarantee out number 2. That could have very well been trouble for the A's there. If that throw gets by Wood, that could have cashed in the runner potentially, but he remains at second base and 2 down now in this inning. Froome up to bat, and first pitch to him is swung on, foul tip for a strike. 0-1 is the count, and Froome is 0 for 2 on the day with 2 strikeouts. This one swung on, popped into shallow right field. Perry able to get it for out number 3. So leadoff single here for the force, but not able to capitalize on that opportunity. Still 6-3. Halfway through this game, A's up by 3, looking to extend the lead. All right, bottom of the fifth. Hayes Eden's the catcher for the A's, leading things off. So that is 7, 8, 9 due up. First pitch is fouled back into the seats. Had to look up to see if that was heading for me. Thankfully, no. Usually I have the pop-up tent saving me from potential foul balls hitting me in the head, but not tonight, as no need for it, so we don't have that hot beating sun over our heads. That one is inside 1-1. The new pitcher on the mound for the Force is Jones. That's already the fourth pitcher for them to appear in this game, and we are still in the fifth inning. Tries inside again and gets the call this time, 1-2. So Napier able to complete 2 innings, came in for Velasquez, who was unable to record an out, allowed 2 hits, struck out 1, walked 1, but most importantly, no runs, as the A's were running it up early on the starting pitcher and the first reliever. Last pitch was a strikes 2-2. Now it's down in the dirt, 3-2. Full count for Jones's first batter, Edens. And Edens was able to work a walk in his first at bat and might be his second here. It is. He's able to lay off that pitch and takes first base. So yet another leadoff walk for the A's. Edens gets the first. That's the second time he's done that this game, not only walking, but leadoff walk. And Perry now looking to move him around the base paths. First pitch to Perry, in for a strike. 0 for 1 on the day, able to draw a walk in the third inning. 0-1 outside, tried to work the outside part of the zone and no go, says home plate umpire. 1-1. Jones checks over at first base on Edens. He is back in there quite safely. Pretty nice night at the ballpark. A good amount of people rooting on the A's here, especially Kingsburg Little League. It's awesome to see the Little Leaguers at the ballpark watching college players. Had 2 of them throughout the first pitches today for the ball game, and of course in between inning action, such as chasing one of our Fresno A's players around the outfield and also getting to run the bases. This one's chopped high in the air. Jones able to get it, flips it on to first in time for the out. And they tried to get a possible double play with Eden sleeping at second, but no go there. So 1 down, Eden's able to move over to second, and now Brian Sanders looking to cash him in. So Sanders at third base today. We're used to seeing him most of the time at second, but with Luke Navad having a rest today, unless he gets some action later in today's game, Brian Sanders takes over those duties at the hot corner. The first pitch to him there was swung on and missed, 0-1. Infielders playing at normal depth here for Sanders, and this one's hit out to right field. Sliding catch made, good catch. Eden's unable to tag up and go to third on that one. So good contact for Sanders on that one, but no dice on that. So 2 down. And top of the lineup, Scott Mitchell up to bat for his 4th at-bat in 5 innings. First pitch to Scott Mitchell, low and away, ball one. 2 walks on the day for him and did score once. 1-0 is sliced into right field. That's going to drop for a base hit. We'll see if Edens can come around. He will score as that ball's bobbled by the right fielder, so he decides to abort and throw it into second to keep Scott Mitchell at first. RBI single for Scott Mitchell, and the A's increase the lead 7-3.
Out comes Medford, Fresno, number 14.
George Smith now up to bat for the A's. Hit by pitch in the first inning and scored. Since then, 2 outs in 2 at-bats. First pitch to him was bounced in the dirt, good blocked by the catcher Mackey to keep Scott Mitchell at first. Jones's 1-0 is hit towards the third baseman who blocks it down with his body. A couple of hesitations, and he sails it into the A's dugout. Wow, oh wow. Couple of bobbles on that one and tried to beat out the speedy base runner of George Smith, and I don't think I've ever seen a ball sail that much in my life. It was more than halfway up the netting above the A's dugout, and that's going to end up being second base for George Smith and third base for Scott Mitchell. So potentially a very costly error here for the Force, as the hottest hitter in today's game for the A's is coming up. That is Mikey Ramirez. 2 hits for him, a single and a double, 2 ribbies, and he's also scored twice. But this one's popped up into shallow center field. Oh my goodness, acrobatic catch from the second baseman. That looked like that might have been an easy play for the center fielder, but he caught it over his head running into the outfield, and that ends this scoring threat for the A's. Wow. But they do score 1 in the bottom of the 5th, increase the lead by 4. Force still on the comeback trail. All right, bottom of the 6th. Monge up to bat. First pitch fouled into the screen, 0-1. So pitching change to report here for the A's. Mason Medina is now on the mound. So Tyler Gonzalez's day is done. Medina gives up a base hit to his first batter. That one is hammered out to left center field. Mongi easily with a stand-up double. Good start here for the Force in the top of the sixth, looking to claw back into this one. Not so much for Medina. So speaking of Medina, he is pitching collegiately locally, plays his ball at Fresno City College. And let's take a peek at Gonzalez's day on the mound. 5 innings of work, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs. Only 2 of them were earned, though, and 3 strikeouts to 1 walk. That one's fouled right back into the screen for an 0-1 count to Brandenburg. Brandenburg able to get on base his last time up with a error by the first baseman Wood. And speaking of that, now that I look at first base, Ethan Wood is out of the game. There's been a substitution defensively. That is Jake Maynor taking over at first base. One count to Brandenburg. Medina checking on second. Comes home up and in for 2-1.
Unless it's
Medina comes set, taking a peek at second. Comes home for 2-1. Swung on and missed up in the zone. And count evens up 2-2. Well, we talked about that shadow line yesterday and today. It now appears to be not a factor for the fielders. Looks like only place there might be the slightest peak of sunshine is at the wall in center field. Pitch misses there for a full count, 3-2. Swing and a miss. Great location from Medina outside on the corner, 1 down in the inning. David Conti, the second baseman, now up to bat. He was the guy who made the rather fantastic catch in center field over his shoulder to end the scoring threat from the A's in the bottom half of the 5th. He takes the first pitch for a strike. Medina took a quick step off the mound and now comes home with 0-1. This one's chopped to George Smith at short. Plays it on the hop, throws it to 1, out number 2. Smooth play from George Smith at short. But the base runner able to get to third base. So the 4th run for the Force is 90 feet away, but they'll have to get it done with a base hit most likely, as there's 2 down in the inning. And bottom of the lineup, the catcher Mackey now up for his 3rd at bat. He has reached twice into today's game. As this ball gets away from Eden's butt, runner does not go home. Scratch that. That's not Eden's. Coach Wyatt Featherston snuck in another defensive substitution on me in between innings. That is Isaac Fernandez now taking over the catching duties. Another ball there to Mackey, 2-0, favorable count for him. This one is hammered a ton, but way foul out of play. If that got straightened out, that very well could have been a home run. But instead, 2-1 now the count to Mackey. Medina looking to get him out to put up a 0 on the scoreboard for his first inning of work. 2-1, hangs a slider into the zone to even it up 2-2. Medina's 2-2, swung on and missed. Able to punch out Mackey and eliminate the scoring threat. Good job from Medina coming back after giving up a leadoff double, and A's still up 7-3 as we head to the bottom of the sixth. But before I cut my mic here, just to let you folks know, I am not going to be here next Wednesday, so I will have a replacement. It is a good friend and fellow classmate from Fresno State in the Media Communications and Journalism Department, Ryan Leonardo. He will be filling in on the mic, and I have had him here today to essentially almost shadow me and see how the whole process is with putting up the equipment, taking it down, and of course, the broadcast, all the technicalities and stuff. So, next voice you'll hear on the broadcast is going to be his. We're going to let him break in that voice for a half inning, an inning. We'll see how it goes.
The bottom of the sixth for the A's, Jacob Maynard, as he has come in to pitch hit for Wood. Maynard takes a rip down third base line, but it goes foul. With Maynard coming up for his first at bat, we're going to see if he can keep him hot for the A's, as in every single leadoff batter has got on base for every single inning, whether that is a base hit or has been walks. Second pitch, low and away. Count is 1-1. Jacob Maynard is coming in with a batting average of a 2.78. He takes one high and in for ball 2. Count is 2-1. Another foul, third base. We now have an even count of 2-2. Maynard keeps on fighting. Maynard swings and misses. He'll bring up 3.
Now, number 2, 3.
63 is now taking this will be his fourth at bat. He's got on base once with a walk back in the third. He takes as the first pitch is a strike. Foul, second pitch. Count is 0-2. That one's into the left center gap and is caught by the center fielder. He got a good piece of it. Just died a little soon. Died a little in the grass. Couldn't make it to the track.
Now, number 34. Go on.
Parker Cristall is now up for his fourth at bat of the game. Takes the first pitch ball. The second pitch, it is fouled down the third base line. Count is now 1-1. Cristall takes it very close, low and in, but it does get called two. Count is 2-1. Cristall. Cristall, it's it, and it just misses the glove of the shortstop. And that is a single for Cristall. Now Isaac Fernandez is coming in to pitch hit for Edens. Fouls this one up into the stands. One guy was just gonna let that hit him. He watched that the whole way, and he was just staring at it. Bounce about a seat away from it. Jones tries to pick off Cristall at first. Sit back to the bag. Jones gets ready for the second pitch. The at bat. Cristall's faking him out over there on the first baseline. Jones steps off. He's ready again. Cristall's taking a pretty good lead over there. This one goes inside for ball one. Cristall's over there chirping the pitcher right now. Jones a little thrown off, keeps looking back at him. Cristall again is taking a decent sized leadoff. The third pitch that is sent to the shortstop, move off the bounce. Does not get it to first in enough time. That advanced Cristall to the second. And Fernandez.
Now, at number 63, Aiden Perry.
Aiden Perry is up for his fourth at bat for the game. He's got runners on first and second with 2 outs. Jones again is peeking at Crystal this whole time. Perry hits it to the second baseman, and he gets Perry out at first. Well, we did have 2 hits of two singles for Crystal and Fernandez. We go to top of the 7th.
You're on.
Ethan King is now coming in to pitch hit for Bolden in the top of the 7th.
I hold my arm out. Well,
The first pitch, strike. Second one was a ball outside. Bobbled out of the glove of the catcher. King takes pitch low and away for ball 2. We did, however, see King yesterday. He was 1 for 2 with a single, and he did score a run. Takes another pitch outside. It's the count favorable for King, 3-1. Fouls the swing to the net. Go full count.
you can stick it to the how far? Yeah. Hopefully, and then
Good high. Good high.
And it's low for ball 4. Walk the force to lead off the top of the 7th.
I like it.
Now up, we have Dominic Avila, first of the Avila Bros. Avila has made it on base twice this game so far. 2 singles. As he hits this one, goes foul, hit pretty deep. Counts 0-2 for Avila. Pitch.
Yeah.
Takes it right down the middle. Strike one. That is Medina's third strikeout on the game so far. His first one looking. The 2 were swinging. As this pitch is low, bounces over the catcher. And it advances King, second base. It's ball 1 for JP Avila.
Oh,
JP Avila has made it on base one time this game with a single. He was able to get all the way back.
Lars.
Swings right there. Like 1. And it's 1-1. You got 1 out with a runner on second. As this one is hit to second baseman, he grounds it and throws out JP Avila at first. That does advance King to third. So force with Gaitiopa up. Oh. Never mind.
I didn't make you swing at that.
Oh no. Oh, they just called him. They just fouls off the first pitch. Well, the force does have has a runner 90 feet away from home, has a chance to score again to bring this to a 3-run game. So he takes pitch number 2 high to make the count even at 1-1.
Did he just start?
As Iopa hits it, second baseman dives up, misses it. That's an RBI single. So with that, there's now 7-4, and also with that hit, the Force have 1 more hit in the A's, 8-7.
Sponsored by Blue.
Room takes the first pitch inside. Ball 1. Ethiopia now has 2 RBIs in this game, and that is 2 out of the 3 the Force have in total as a team. As Room swings, makes the count 1-2. Medina, he strikes out again, would be his 4th strikeout on the game so far. Pitch, slow, evens count out again, 2-2. Antiopa isn't making too much noise over there on first base. He's taking a normal sized leadoff. Medina has looked at him once or twice. And he blows it right past through for his 4th strikeout of the game so far. That ends the top of the seventh for the Force, who bring in one more run to make the score 7-4.
All right, folks. Jared Smith back on the mics. Thanks for giving my friend Ryan Leonardo a listen. As a reminder, he will be on the call for next Wednesday's game, as this pitch is yanked and almost hits Luke Nevad at the feet. He's coming in for Brian Sanders, so this is Nevad's first at-bat of the game, and he will take over duties at third base. And nearly gets hit again. New pitcher Petrin is struggling with that command early on in his at-bat. His first batter faced, I should say. But either way, that makes it 2-0 for Nevad. He was in the game yesterday, and what a game he had. He was one hit away from the cycle. The one he was missing was a grand slam. He had all three hits resulted in RBIs. He had an RBI double, RBI single, and RBI triple in yesterday's game. And he seems disappointed with that. It's a 4-pitch walk, first at bat. Don't blame him. He wants to get a base hit, but instead, it is another leadoff base runner for the A's. We'll have to confirm and see if that is happened every single inning. First inning, yes. Second inning, yes. Third, yes. And fourth, no. So, and sixth, no. But still very impressive. 4 out of their, actually, it's 5 now. So 5 out of their 7 innings, they've had leadoff base runners, and that has been a recipe for success, obviously, here today. But the Force are still lingering in the background, only down by 3, but time is running out for them to come back in this one. Scott Mitchell is the new batter, had an RBI single in the 5th inning, also has walked twice. One pitch to Mitchell inside for 2-1. Featuring a southpaw, and looks like he's coming from almost a sidearm slot, but kind of 3/4 as well. And he has been yanking them low and inside to those righties. And now, of course, right when I say low and inside, he goes high and outside. But 3-1 now, the count to Scott Mitchell. Lights are starting to take over the lighting on the field and some colors in the clouds in the nighttime. As mentioned earlier in the broadcast, there were thunderstorms in the Sierra Nevada today, and as they fizzle out, still lingering clouds and making for a very nice backdrop here at Chickchansey Park. That one's fouled into the screen. Count will run full 3-2. Runner on the move, that's Luke Nevad, and that one from Mitchell is ripped just foul. Gonna try again on 3-2. Luke Nevad will return to first base. Boy, still feels really muggy at the ballpark today. As Scott Mitchell hits this one out to right field, should be no trouble, and it is not. Froome able to catch that one for out number one. Number 2 hitter, George Smith, comes in. Now he has been hit by a pitch and reached on an error. So 2 times on base for him, yet no hits so far today. He fouls this one, bounces off of him for strike 1. But yeah, getting back to the point about the weather, it is muggy at the ballpark today, and it is by far the most uncomfortable game we've had this season. That was a close back pick attempt over at first base, but Nevada able to get in time. A little bit of an unorthodox slide on that one. Slid in feet first instead of head first going back to first base, but it paid off for him, and he is still on that base. George Smith digs back in, 1-1. A little bit of action going on in the bullpen for the A's as George Smith fouls this one back to the screen. Can't quite tell who that is down here at the moment. You know, I can't see a number, but based off of that pitching motion, that sure looks to be Matthew Lopez. That might be warming up to come into the game. That one misses outside, 2-2. Could either be warming up for the game or could just be getting the arm a little bit loose for our upcoming road trip up to Medford. 2-2 pitch to Smith, sent out to center field. He's upset. He got under it, and it drops for a base hit. That was a pretty tough play for the center fielder to make, so I don't believe that'll be charged as an error. That should be a base hit for Smith. Slammed the bat in frustration, but it ends up rewarding him with a single. Nevada over to second base on that. Now runners on first and second with, you guessed it, Mikey Ramirez up to bat. He has been on base 3 out of his 4 times, 2 of those coming courtesy of hits, and he does have 2 RBIs. First pitch to him, in for a strike. In the dirt, gets away from the catcher, and that's going to be second and third base for Smith and Nevada. The complexion of this bat has changed a little bit. Went from a hit, scores 1 to a hit, likely scores 2. Petrin trying to work out of this jam. Infielders are all in on the grass. They don't want to let any more runs in, and it bites them. That one gets by the shortstop and the third baseman. Here comes Luke Nevad in to score. 8 4 Athletics. Another RBI base hit for Mikey Ramirez. He's getting it done at the plate today for the A's. So George Smith is now at third off of that. Talking about that last base hit, by the way, there's a solid chance Nevada might have scored, but that is the chance you play with when you are having the infielders in. They were hoping to stop it from getting into the outfield, but playing so close on the grass didn't allow the shortstop to have enough time to stop that ground ball on the ground. There goes Ramirez down to second. It's overthrown, but good backup by the shortstop to keep it in the infield so George Smith doesn't go home and score. Yeah, just switch cameras and so 2-0 count here for Jake Maynor. That one in the dirt. It is now 3-0. First at bat for Maynor, he struck out. Also featured in yesterday's game, came in as a substitution, struck out twice as well. So 0 for 3 with 3 Ks against the Force in these 2 games. Looking to turn that around. Takes it for ball 4. Thought that might be a strike call, but no. 4-pitch walk for Maynor, and bases are loaded for the A's, and Luke Ree looking to make the Force pay. Petron's first pitch to Ree is just low, 1-0. Three 0 for 2 on the day, but that 0 for 2 does not show what he's done on the day in terms of contributions. Sacrifice fly in the first inning, and he did walk as well. Julian Rodriguez is on deck, so he would replace Parker Cristall. That is a curveball that tried to sneak onto the outside part of the plate, but nothing doing there. And 2-1 count, actually. Scoreboard shows 3-0. Umpire says 2-1, so we're going to go with that. That one's fouled to the screen, 2-2. As Julian Rodriguez gets that foul ball. Action going on in the Force bullpen. That would be their 6th pitcher of the game if somebody does end up coming in for Petron, whether it be in this inning or next inning. Count goes full on Ree now. Could be a consequential pitch, possible double play, or possible multiple runs come in. It's just going to be 1 run, though, as Ree takes that one in the dirt, ball 4. He will technically get an RBI for that as George Smith comes in to score the 9th run for the A's, and they have expanded this lead to 5. And that is going to prompt a visit from the Force coach. He points to the bullpen. He is bringing yet another arm into the game. This time it's going to be a righty. We'll get that number for you and the name when we come back. All right, we're back. And wow, Julian Rodriguez gets drilled in the either leg or ankle. His first at bat of his game, and it's a painful one, but he does technically bat a run in. Boy, that is a rough start for the new pitcher in the game for the Force. Rodriguez takes first base, and Mikey Ramirez was the runner that came in to score there. So back-to-back runners coming in as a result of, we'll just say, free passes, whether it was a walk or a hit by pitch. And it is now 10-4 A's. 3 runs so far in this inning, but potential for plenty more. Isaac Fernandez up to bat for his second time this game, and he rips it up the middle. That's a single. Here comes Jake Maynor. Here comes Luke Reed. Throws not going to be in time. And that is a 2 RBI single for Isaac Fernandez. 2 for 2 on the day. And 12-4 A's. They are encroaching on potential mercy rule here in the bottom of the 7th.
Now, 53, 8,
Rodriguez was only able to get to second on that one, not able to get to third, but still runners on first and second, and only 1 out. New pitcher on the mound for the Force is Morelli. This one's chopped up the middle. Pitcher goes to third, back over to first, not in time. First baseman makes a good effort to come up onto that one and stop it from taking a bad hop on him. But they do get the force out of Rodriguez at third base, so situation stays the same. Runners on first and second, but now 1 more out for them. Luke Navad coming up for his second at-bat of the day and second at-bat of this inning, as a matter of fact. He led off this inning with a walk, looking to get a hit. This one's in the dirt. Good block from the catcher. One zero, taken for a strike, 1-1. One pitch, curveball, waved at and missed. We don't see the 12-6 too often, but Morelli brought that one, and it was good. So 1-2 now, 1 strike away from being out of this inning are the Force. And this one's hit into left field, a base hit for Navad. Fernandez is hustling into home. He's in there, and that's yet another run. 13-4 A's.
number 15, Mitchell.
So we mentioned Navad had a big day yesterday at the plate, and he continues the good vibrations for him at bat. Another RBI hit. He has 4 RBI hits in a 2-day span. Mitchell fouls this one down the right side, 0-1. Still 94 degrees at the ballpark right now, getting close to 9 p.m. And boy, you can feel it. This one goes away, 2-1. Excuse me, that's 1-1. That was only the first ball of that at bat. Ball just outside. Umpire looks to have a tight zone. And now it's 2-1. Down the pipe, chopped in the air. Second baseman with a great scoop on the short hop and throws it to first to end this inning finally. for the Force on defense. But A's come up big in the bottom of the seventh. 6 runs on the board, just about half of their runs scored today. And they are up 9 runs as we go to the top of the 8th. Potential for mercy rule, but we are late in this game anyway, so we might just end up playing all 9. We'll see if the Force have any answer coming up. All right, top of the 8th. Force looking to just claw back a few runs here. They were in the game for a little while, but it appears to be out of reach for them at this point. Down 9. New pitcher to report here for the Athletics. It is, in fact, Matthew Lopez. We saw him warming up earlier. Wondered if it was just to get loose for the upcoming series or if he'd be in the game tonight. We've answered that question as that pitch is bounced in the dirt, 2-0. Also, something to report for the Force. This is Yasayo that is up leading things off for the top of the 8th. He comes in for Mongi. That one called strike, 2-1. Yasayo was a starter yesterday, 1 for 2 with a hit and a round out. Lopez pumps in another strike there. Count evens up 2-2. A little emergency hack there from Masayo and is able to get a piece of wood on it to stay alive. Good 2-strike hitting there from him. Certainly not a pitch he wanted to hit, but was afraid to get rung up looking.
Somebody on it.
That one ran in on his hands, and he was able to still spoil it, and it's another 2-2. This is going to be the third 2-2 pitch for Lopez. Two sent out to left center field. It goes over Scott Mitchell's glove. I don't know what happened there. Looked like he was taking the foot off the gas and was going to get that one under control, but just flat out goes over his glove, and that ends up being 2 bases for Hisayo to lead things off. It's ruled as an error on the scoreboard, but I'm not too sure if that's a correct ruling. Yes, it was an errant play from Mitchell, but ordinarily when the ball doesn't touch the glove or any part of the fielder, it just ends up being ruled as a hit. But I will roll with that ruling. It's going to be E7 for Hisayo, and that ball gets away from Fernandez, and Hisayo is already to third off of the first pitch to the new batter, Brandenburg. Just got intel that it did, in fact, bounce off his glove, so that is the correct ruling, E7. Tough to tell from this far away. That one in the dirt, 2-0. Two-0 to Brandenburg.
Build up.
Fernandez able to block that one, keep it in front of him, but favorable situation for Brandenburg and Hisayo. 3-0 count. Lopez looking to claw back into this at bat and not lose him. Gets it low and inside to get back with a strike. Lopez is 3-1. Tried to locate it in the same spot, but misses. Brandenburg takes a free pass over to first base. Runners now on the corners for the force. No out in the inning. Tough start for Lopez on the mound here, but thankfully, with that walk, there is a double play potential.
David Conti.
Second baseman Conti up to bat, shows bunt. That one's in the dirt yet again. Fernandez able to keep it in front of him. One 0 squares to bunt again. It's right at Lopez, though, so runner's not going to go. Now he's going. Hisayo's going home. Throw to the plate, not able to get there in time.
We'll take outs all day. We'll take outs all day.
Hisayo able to slide in behind Fernandez, cashes in a run, 13-5.
You have 6 outs left. They could punt a running.
Number 12 batting, of course.
They could go triple, bunt him in, triple, bunt him in. Game over.
This one ripped out to left field in front of Mitchell. That's a base hit. He is throwing it in to the cutoff man, Luke Navad, and that'll keep Brandenburg at third base. But yet again, action still going on here for the Force with only one down. That was Moffitt with the single there.
Now batting number 3, Ethan Pete.
So with one down, runners on the corners again. Ethan King stepping in for his second at bat. Came in to pinch hit for Bolden. Walked in the 7th inning and scored. First pitch to him is a strike. We'll keep an eye on Moffitt to see if he decides to take 2 with the open base there. Swinging and a hit over to Luke Navad. He's coming home. Gets the runner Brandenburg in a pickle. Fernandez able to tag him out.
Bye-bye.
So cuts down the lead runner, and it'll go down as a fielder's choice. Bolden over to first, and Moffitt moves over to second, but Brandenburg cut down in that pickle. 2 down in the inning. And Avila stepping in. 2 hits for him on the day, but furthest he's gotten to is second base. Want to know the count to him? Oh, that one ends up hitting his bat. That was funky. A little bit of a breaking pitch there, was taking it all the way. Well, not taking it all the way. He was starting to swing and then held it up, but that barrel was angled down, hit his barrel, 1-1. Swing and a miss. He was behind that one for sure. And Lopez is 1 strike away from getting out of this inning. One-two pitch, fouled into the stands. Words of encouragement from catcher Isaac Fernandez, wanting his pitcher Lopez to get that last pitch by Avila. Oh, looked like he did there. He thought it too, but doesn't get the call on the outside part of the plate. So count evens up 2-2. As mentioned, umpires been called a bit of a tight zone today, and it proves to be true on that last pitch. George Smith crashing into second, faking the pick off, and that one is fouled weakly. So still remains 2-2. Vila and Lopez battling here. Lopez takes a peek at 2, comes home. Skied in the air. That's got some hang time on it. Maynor parks under it and has it for out number 3. So big chance to score some runs there for the Force. They're only able to come up with 1. A's coming up for what's likely to be their last at-bats of the game, and they're up big, 13-5. First pitch to George. Smith swung on and missed. 0-1. Pitcher still remains in the game. That is Moffitt, but still unloading the bullpen today are the Force. That is their sixth pitcher of the day as Smith takes that for 1-1. Smith able to get a single and scored last inning. He takes that pitch for 1-2. Off the end of the bat, it is in fair ground. First baseman is able to get it for out number 1.
That one, which one?
So one down here, Mikey Ramirez coming up to the plate. And we've talked a lot about him today. He's given us reason to. There's no doubt about that. 2 RBI double, RBI single. This one, though, weak grounder to second baseman who throws it over in time for out number 2. Quick 2 up, 2 down here for the A's. That has been hard to come by for the Force on defense. But they'll take it at this point, this late in the ball game. Just looking to get up to bat in the top of the 9th and try and make some magic happen. Jake Maynor up to bat for his third at-bat. Incredibly, he came in as a substitution in the 5th inning, and he's already working his third at-bat. Gets nailed with that one. Morelli gives him a free pass to first base, but Maynor had to wear it. And of course, whenever somebody wears one and it doesn't really cause any injury, that's always going to hype up the dugout. Even sometimes you'll hear it when they duck out of the way, people say, wear it. Nasty 12-6 gets the swing and the miss there from Luke Reed. He was ahead on that one. Last inning, Reed was walked and actually credited with an RBI since bases were juiced when he walked. Takes that one for a walk. Or takes that one for a ball, excuse me, 1-1. Morelli's 1-1 sliced over the second baseman's head. That's a base hit. Maynor's on the move. He's going for 3. Reed is going to settle in at first base. So that'll be Reed's first hit of the day. And A's got runners on the corners with 2 down. Julian Rodriguez steps in the box looking to make his mark on the game. First at bat, he was unable to do so because he ended up leaving the batter's box with a mark. He only saw one pitch and got nailed, which brought in a run. 1-0 to Rodriguez. Swung on over on the left side of the field. Third baseman throws it in the dirt. Heck of a pick at first base to secure out number 3. Good scoop from the third baseman, but he made that first baseman work for it, and he really bailed him out there on that one. So A's unable to score after they get some more traffic on the bases, but they're in good hands as they get to the top of the 9th. 8-run lead for them and only 3 outs to get. Matthew Lopez returns to the mound for his second inning of work, looking for 3 more outs. It's going to start against JP Avila. Has himself a single on the day, takes that one upstairs. One-zero pitch, swung on and missed. Filth from Lopez as that one started in the middle of the zone and broke into the dirt. Strike call on that one. 1-2 now to start out Avila. Swinging a miss again on the curveball. Lopez is just bringing the nasty to the force right now, and that is 1 down, 2 to go in this top of the ninth. Pinch hitter coming up here for the fourth. Going to pull that number and name for you. That is going to be number 4, Garcia. First pitch to him, a curveball again in for a strike. That is working for Lopez. Pitch number 2, another curveball. Doesn't get the chase on that one, though. Count goes to 1-1. Wanted to take a look at Lopez's stats this year. 15 innings pitched, no starts for him on the year, just all appearances and perhaps closing appearances. That one is a strike, 1-2. He is credited with 2 wins on the year, only giving up 2 runs. None of them were earned, though, and 17 strikeouts to 2 walks, so very efficient for him. No ERA so far in his 15 innings. And opponent batting average is 241. That pitch is dribbled foul. One-two pitch from Lopez. Tries the straight stuff down and away, but gets the foul ball, or the foul swing does. Garcia keeps it alive, 1-2. Umpire gives the signal. We're ready to resume play. Lopez gets set. Fires the 1-2, sent out to right field. And Mikey Ramirez drops it. Runner's caught in between, though. Gonna throw it back to first. He is safe. Wow, that was a bizarre play. Looked like Ramirez had that one trapped and ready to go, but it almost just squeaked out of the glove. He was wondering if he was going to get the call on the transfer. Doesn't. So that is going to be ruled an E9. Garcia takes first base, but almost got thrown out as he was halfway in between first and second, thinking that that was an out. Spiked in the dirt for ball 1. That is another pinch hitter into this game. So Kroom's day is done. That'll bring up Wilbur. Haven't seen him in this series yet. 1-0 chopped over to Nevada. They're going to try and roll 2, but that throw takes Perry off the bag, but he's still able to touch up second base with his foot. Boy, there's some weird stuff going on in this top of the ninth. Perry looks like he might be hurt, though. Sure hope he's okay. But Nevada was trying to roll 2 so quick that the throw pulled Perry offline, and he had to do a little bit of stretching to get that force out. Ends up being a fielder's choice, though. So Garcia was out at second. Wilbur takes over his spot at first. And Hisayo digs in for his second at bat. He led off the last inning getting on base by a dropped fly ball from Scott Mitchell in left field and scored the one run for them in the eighth. First pitch he takes here is a strike. This one down in the dirt tells the base runner to stay put. So he does, 1-1. One swung on and missed. And Lopez is one pitch away from yet another win for the A's. That would be their 10th win in a row. This one's in the dirt, though. It gets by the catcher Fernandez, and Wilbur heads on to second base. Pitch was in the dirt there, but looked like it could have potentially been blocked by the catcher, but the 5-hole gets Wilbur on to second base. Hisayo is now working with an even 2-2 count. Two-two pitch. Grunt from Lopez. He gave it his all. That's grounded to George Smith. Throw on to first base in time. Winner, winner, chicken dinner for the A's. They win big here today, 13-5. They beat the Force in both games of this short little 2-game series, and that is 22-6 on the season, 10 wins in a row, and 14-2 record on this homestand, and undefeated to start out the second half of this season after the summer break. All good signs for the A's as they face stiff competition coming up this weekend. As we're going to be traveling up to Medford to face the Rogues for 4th of July weekend. It'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 3 games at 6:30 p.m. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to you tuning into that game. And thanks, of course, for tuning in to today's game. A's win big in both games against the Force, and they are rolling. Until Friday, we'll see you then.